You're listening to the Power Agent Blogcast, empowering agents to elevate their business to the next level.
Challenges are just a guide, leading you, don't run and hide. You've got the heart, you've got the drive, feel it pound, you're alive. Power Agent.
Welcome back to the Power Agent Blogcast. You know, something that's always kind of intrigued me is how in real estate, a lot of agents, they sort of accidentally downplay, I guess, what they bring to the table, and it ends up holding them back.
Yeah, for sure. It's something I see all the time, too. And I think it goes beyond just the individual agents. This is something that really needs to be addressed at a leadership level, too, you know?
Absolutely. So that's kind of what we're going to get into today. Like, why are agents undervaluing themselves? And more importantly, like, what can they do to change that mindset? Because at the end of the day, it really is about helping their clients, right?
Right. Like, one of the big things I always hear is this whole, like, am I a salesperson or am I a professional? And I think this distinction, well, it can really mess with an agent's head.
I think there's this idea that if you're a transactional agent as opposed to a fiduciary agent, you don't have as many responsibilities. But even if the terms are different, legally, there's still a lot that goes into it.
Oh, yeah, a ton. You know, even when you're just a transaction broker, you still have a legal responsibility to be honest and fair with everyone. And you have to make sure you're disclosing everything about the property, anything that a buyer might not see right away.
And of course, you're responsible for all the money involved. And you're expected to use your skills and experience to handle everything properly. Oh, and don't forget about presenting all offers and counteroffers on time.
Right, exactly. So while you might not have the exact same level of like loyalty as a fiduciary agent, you still have to be a professional. You have to have integrity, know what you're doing, and work in your client's best interest.
Totally. So, you know, we've been talking about how agents might not see their own worth. I think there are a few roadblocks in their mindset that really hold them back. And the biggest one, well, the one that seems to cause the most damage, is comparing themselves to other people.
Oh man, that comparison game, it's poison. It's like you look at these top producers, your colleagues, you know, even what people are posting on social media, and you start thinking, man, I'm not doing enough, or I'll never get there.
Yeah, and it's so easy to fall into that trap. But what they forget is that everyone has their own strengths, right? Each agent brings something unique to the table. The way they connect with clients, how much they care, their own dedication.
It's all different. You can't duplicate that. You know, nobody has that same mix of skills, experiences, personality. So focusing on your own strengths, that's where you build real confidence, not by dwelling on what you think you lack compared to someone else.
Another thing I see is agents getting hung up on their commission. They focus on the price instead of the actual value they're providing. And they think, oh, if I just lower my fees, I'll get more clients.
Ugh. Yeah, and that right there is a huge problem because when you think like that, you're totally missing the point of what you offer as an agent. You're guiding people through probably the biggest financial decision of their lives. That's not something you can just put a price tag on.
I mean, think about everything that goes into it, right? All the paperwork, the negotiations, dealing with unexpected problems. You know, agents bring so much peace of mind to what can be a super stressful process.
Absolutely. The real value is in the results. It's in that expert guidance and all the knowledge you bring. When agents get that and when they can communicate that to their clients, the whole conversation changes. It's not about the fee anymore. It's about the investment.
Okay, so here's another big one. Fear of rejection. Nobody likes to hear no. But for real estate agents, it seems extra tough.
It really does. And it can stop you from doing so much. Like you're hesitant to look for new clients. You don't feel confident talking about what you offer. And you just kind of hold back, you know, all because you're afraid of being rejected.
And it's a part of the business. Everyone says that, right? But does it mean you're not a good agent?
Exactly. When you really believe in what you bring to the table, that fear, it doesn't control you anymore. You understand that not every client is going to be a perfect match, and that's okay. What drives you is knowing you can make a real difference in your clients' lives.
You know, we've talked a lot about the agent's mindset, but there's another side to this. Leadership. The leaders in the real estate world, they have a huge role to play in helping agents see their own worth.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, that's where good leadership really shines. Leaders, they need to challenge those negative beliefs that are holding agents back, you know? They need to create an environment where agents feel supported and appreciated when they can recognize their value.
So, like, what can leaders actually do? I've heard this idea of teaching advocacy over sales. What's that all about?
Well, it's about changing the focus. right? It's recognizing that clients don't just want someone to handle the paperwork. They want someone they can trust, someone who will fight for their best interests, someone who's got their back through the whole process. They need an advocate. And leaders need to help their agents see that and be able to communicate that to clients. You're more than just a middleman.
Right. So it's not just about closing the deal. It's about understanding what the client really needs. And I also read about shifting from a can't-do attitude to more of a how can I approach. What do you think about that?
That's huge. It's about turning problems into opportunities for growth. So like when an agent says, I can't compete on commission, a good leader will ask, okay, but how can you show your value so clearly that the commission isn't even an issue? Or if they say, my market's different, these strategies won't work here, the leader can say, well, what are the top agents in our market doing that's working for them? It's about being proactive, finding solutions.
It's about getting agents to think outside the box and showing them how to overcome challenges. And then there's the communication piece. Seems like being able to communicate effectively is super important for agents.
Couldn't agree more. The more confident an agent is, the better they'll be at communicating. That's everything from giving a great listing presentation to negotiating deals to just talking to people every day. And if an agent is struggling, leaders need to step in, offer training, give them scripts to work with, even do some role playing.
Because if you can explain your value clearly and confidently, you're going to start believing it yourself. And finally, I think it's important for leaders to push for real professionalism, not just high sales numbers.
That's the difference between a flash in the pan and building a lasting career. You can have tons of sales, but if you're not a true professional, it won't last. And it won't help the industry grow as a whole. We need agents who are knowledgeable and confident in their skills. Agents who know what they're worth.
If you're an agent listening to this right now, think about this. If you don't truly see your own value, how do you expect your clients to?
You're not just helping people buy or sell a house. You're an advocate. You're a strategist. You solve problems. You're helping people make one of the biggest decisions of their lives. And you're doing it with expertise and care. That's incredibly valuable.
It's time to stop comparing yourself to others. Stop letting the fear of rejection hold you back. And stop thinking that the price is the only thing that matters.
Own your expertise.
Yeah.
Really embrace the skills and knowledge you have. What you offer is irreplaceable. Your talents, your dedication to your clients, your understanding of the market, these are all things to be proud of.
So as we wrap up, remember this. Recognizing your value as a real estate professional is essential. It's the key to success, and it's how you build trust with your clients.
Now, here's something to think about. Can you think of a time when you maybe didn't speak up about your value, or when you underestimated what you bring to the table? Knowing what we've talked about today, what could you do differently next time to get a better outcome?